Welcome to Virtually There Redux, a series of readings by the authors and poets whose work is showcased in the first 3 issues of Bluff and Vine, the literary magazine of the Finger Lakes in Western New York. Virtually There was performed live on April 11th, 2020. Now the stories and poems are available to listen to at any time. In this series, you will hear wild and wonderful tales as read by the writers who brought them to life. Demonstration, a nonfiction piece by Alex Andrasik, read here with minor changes, is available in issue 3 of Bluff and Vine.
The other organizers are gathered around and behind the tables, along with some familiar, civic-minded additions who have stepped up to help. You exchange loaded glances with Anne, with Cindy, with Scarlett, the sentiments passing unspoken between you. Wow, look at this turnout. We didn't see this coming. There's a somber twist to those little looks. Communities respond at like this at moments of great joy, yes, but also at moments of sorrow, of indignation. This is not a celebration. You look back now, safe for a moment behind the line of old timber. The shifting stances, the low, earnest conversations between smaller groups, heads close together, hands over mouths or pressed to hips. The energy you felt as you worked through the crowd was resolute, but there's more than a hint of uncertainty out there. You get to work, pulling the half sheets from your messenger bag and beginning to distribute them. 10 or 12 informal little programs for the speakers and other organizers. A sheaf of 100 copies of the other that you divvy up and pass out in clumps to the people standing in the front of the crowd. It's The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus. Secular though the event may be, and consciously so, in times like these, the human heart requires a hymn of sorts. You hope everyone will accept this idea generously. As you hand them out, you see smiles of recognition light in their faces. Maybe it was the right call. You're busying yourself with these physical tasks to put off just a few minutes longer any thought of the next step. Suddenly, though, you have nothing more to hand out. Your bag is empty, an odd, too light weight at your hip. You shrug out from under its strap and toss it into the tangle of roots beneath one tree. It's not quite time. You arrived later than you wanted, yes, but your partners had things well in hand, and now everything's ready. You can take 2 minutes before you start. You call out to Sarah, who's urging people at the edges of the crowd to press in closer, and she nods. You won't be missed if you take a moment for yourself. You make your way across the abandoned half of the park, nodding to the statue of Red Jacket as you go, and stop at the edge of the little beach. There's a family off to the right, kids kicking up sand, parents disinterested in whatever is going on 20 feet behind them. You stifle an unfair little stab of indignation and look out over the lake. It's close to the perfect time when the setting sun paints the high clouds in purling shades of pink that deepen down into red near the horizon. Perfect red. They're fluffy and rounded, those clouds, bunches of grapes hanging out of reach above twinned vineyards below. They disappear over the shoulder of the bluff, solid and green, even as it marches off and dwindles towards a point in the distance. You love this place. Loving something means looking at it seriously and seeing its flaws, holding it up for an honest evaluation, appreciating its good, but hoping to make it better. Adoration without critique is no true love. One of your first tasks when you moved to Penyan was to lead meetings for your employer's strategic planning process. You were nervous, thinking you were the worst possible choice for the job. You barely knew the place yet, didn't know anyone or their concerns. But it turned out to be the best thing for you. You were new, yes, and no one knew you. So maybe they felt a little more comfortable opening up in those meetings. And you got a crash course in Yates County social politics. One thing struck you the most, all the more so because you've heard it repeated so many times since, in so many different contexts. This place isn't friendly to newcomers. You move here, you want to get involved, but you find an old guard already in place and every door slammed in your face. You haven't found this to be 100% true because almost nothing is, but you have found the truth in it. Some opportunities have been closed to you. There has been a certain level of distrust from some quarters, of you the newcomer, of you the youngster, the progressive, the queer, and enough people you trust have claimed the same experience that it's clear there's something to it. But doors have opened. It's been 5 years, and you have found yourself on the inside, in some cases at least. Some doors have opened willingly at your approach. Others you've put your shoulder to. Best of all, maybe, are the spaces you've helped build yourself, with newcomers and natives alike, and which you've designed to stand open for all. Adoration without critique is no true love, and claims to exceptionalism can be more damaging than anything else. Action is what counts. To act that each tomorrow find us farther than today. Somewhere out on the other side of that bluff is a field with 3 letters carved into it. Letters of triumph, letters of pride, letters of common identity and common spirit. The people here love it, as they should. In a few months' time, a bigger-than-life flag will be unfurled on the face of a building on Main Street, and it will make the newspaper, as it should. These are symbols, and symbols are important, and their creation is an action. Our love for them, too, is a sort of action. Symbols are important, but sometimes they're crutches that keep us from doing the hard work of looking deeper and reaching farther. And there are other symbols scattered around the village and the county, like the fungus that creeps up after a heavy rain, yet sadly more persistent. Another flag whose bars stand all too easily for the tradition of bondage its bearers spilled blood for. These symbols are dangerous, however much we may be in our rights to display them. Worse are the actions that run counter to justice, acts that yoke our tomorrows to our yesterdays. Children up in arms against the offer of a little comfort and privacy for peers born differently from them, brandishing a Bible with all the aplomb of inquisitors from out of the Dark Ages. A 4-armed sign spray-painted on dugout walls not far from here, the bubble and drip of white paint down rough plank walls, like the ooze of 1940s vintage hate. And a carload of workers stopped by an overzealous officer of the state, one who vaults over all official requirements and authorizations to arrest, to detain, and to deport, leaving a family broken in a place that claims to elevate family above all else. To act's the thing in the face of such symbols, such regressive tactics. To act and so to connect. Only connect, that was the whole of her sermon. Only connect the prose and the passion, and both will be exalted, and human love will be seen at its height. Live in fragments no longer. Words to deeds, intent to ability, people to people, community to community. You turn and walk back to the line of picnic tables, to the crowd that's waiting for something to begin. Your friends and partners are speaking with small groups, passing out candles, holding up handmade signs, keeping things going, holding it together. You don't know how you found yourself in the role of master of ceremonies. You're a poor choice, a nervous speaker, but there it is. They just need something to get it started, someone to say, time to act. You see Father Dan flash you a thumbs up, another outsider like you, but fully embraced by the congregation that sparked all of this. And there's Bethany and her parents, just arriving from the parking lot. They have deep roots here, and no one has opened doors to you wider or more completely. John Christensen from the Chronicle raises his camera and waits. Newcomers and natives, lake people and locals, grandparents and grandkids wait with him, and every one of them gathered with common purpose, holding up this place they love, this nation, this village, this community, and telling it, we can do better. Your palms sweat and the tips of your ears burn, but you are suddenly infinitely proud. It's time to start, time to act together. You take a deep breath, step up on that rickety picnic bench, and open your mouth to speak.